Hello, my name's Amy and welcome back to another writing vlog. Now, I haven't vlogged for a couple of weeks because I was kind of in the in-between stages of drafts with my current work in progress. Also, my daughter was sick, we were away from home for a few days, there were 2 bank holidays and life was just a bit hectic. But of course, now that I want to start vlogging again, I am sick. So it's going to be a pretty subdued few days, but I am hoping to make progress on the Goldstone Tower. So I finished the first draft about 2 weeks ago and the book has been sitting ever since. The next stage is to read through the completed first draft and make notes on everything I want to change in edits. I have already started this. I've done about the first 4 chapters and I'm just going to be continuing as the week goes on. Luckily, this is a stage of the process that doesn't require too much brain power, so it's perfect for a week when I'm not feeling my best. What's making me really happy right now is that I was just so excited to get back to this book. I'd honestly thought I was going to take at least 1 more week away from it before I read through the first draft, but I was just too eager and excited to go back to this story. I talked in previous vlogs about how I've just really enjoyed writing this first draft, and the ending particularly was very emotional, so I want to hang on to this enthusiasm for as long as possible. So that is the plan for this week. I would also like to take a walk into a bluebell wood if the weather holds and if we are better in time. And our vegetable garden is also shaping up quite nicely for the spring, so hopefully I will get a chance to show you that too. But the big priority this week is just reading the first draft of the Goldstone Tower and making my edit notes. Although my desk, which is also our kitchen table, has been completely taken over by the ironing, so I am going to have to do something about that first. This is my setup for the editing work so far. I've got my e-reader on one side, standing up on its case, and over here we've got my laptop. I'm just reading the book scene by scene and then making notes. All the scenes are numbered in this document. My edit notes are bullet pointed. A lot of them are in the form of questions to myself, which I will sometimes answer in this document, but more likely I will answer them when I come to actually edit the manuscript. It is Wednesday afternoon. I haven't done a very good job of vlogging this week, but I also haven't done a huge amount of writing either. I'm aiming to work for about an hour a day on the editing project, but I only managed about half an hour yesterday. I didn't get to sit down to write until very late in the day, and I was really just too tired and run down by that point to get much done. Now, today's actually a marketing day. I have a few different activities that fall into this category. So far today I have restarted some Amazon ads that were medium successful last year. I've tweaked the price on the particular series they're advertising, so I'm going to restart them and see how they do. Paid advertising has always been very hit and miss for me. There have been times when it's been quite successful and quite profitable, but honestly, usually I just break even. On a much more fun note though, I am planning to write a blog post today. I've actually started a Substack to replace the blog I used to have on my website. That has been dormant now for a very long time, and honestly it just seemed so much easier to move over to Substack and let them do all the hosting and hard work. It's still in the very early stages. I've only put about 3 posts up so far, but I will include a link to it down below if you want to check it out. Today I think I'm going to be writing a post about our garden, and I really should take some photos to go with that, assuming it doesn't spend the rest of the afternoon raining. And I would like to make a reel for Instagram to go with that. Now, I've said before that social media doesn't really sell books, and that continues to be true for me, but I have realised that a lot of the paid promos and advertising opportunities that I might take part in the future are just not that useful for me right now, so I might as well use my marketing time on photography, video, blogging, and just things I enjoy doing. I am at the moment trying to tie everything together: YouTube, my Instagram account, this new Substack, and to remember to actually talk about my books a bit more often because I'm really terrible at that. So that is today's update. I will be back on the editing work tomorrow and hopefully we'll get a bit further, so I will update you then. It is Thursday morning. I've been working out in the barn, but I have also made a really good start on my editing this morning. I'm up to chapter 7 in the manuscript. There are something like 22 or 23 chapters altogether. I am getting towards the end of the section of the book that actually came from an earlier draft. There was a version of the start of this book that was written several months before I came back to it. Then I reworked it quite heavily into the new opening of the book. Now, I don't regret doing that because it did speed up writing the first third or so of the book quite a lot, but I can definitely tell that I have cobbled 2 drafts together. There are some weird inconsistencies that I never completely ironed out, and there are just some things that need tweaking in regard to character motivations and character arcs, and just practical things like what characters know certain facts at which point. Now, this is the sort of stuff that I always have to edit anyway. There are always so many inconsistencies in every single first draft, so having to iron all these out is not really going to slow down the edit too much, but I am making a lot of notes right now. So I'm hoping to get plenty of editing done over the next couple of days. I would really like to get past the halfway mark with the book, probably tomorrow. I do have day job work to do today and tomorrow, but it shouldn't take too long, so I think getting to 50% should be possible. I'd also really like to get over this cold. I'm aware that I sound incredibly stuffy right now, so I apologise for that, but I am feeling not too bad, so it's great to have a bit of writing time today. Good morning. It is Monday, which means my week has come full circle, and I'm starting this new week at about the halfway mark on the read through of the Goldstone Tower. Now, that is not quite as far as I wanted to get last week. The biggest factor to me getting a bit behind was just being ill, but last week was very busy. I lost one of my work days to a bank holiday, so my daughter wasn't at school as much as normal, and honestly this has just been the picture over the last few weeks. It has been so chaotic. My daughter has been at home more than she has been at school. I've lost a lot of work days, but also the weather has been good, so we've been trying to get ahead on the work in the barn. And obviously I've got my day job and I've been gardening, and there is just a lot going on. So to be honest, getting halfway through the Goldstone Tower was not bad going. I have definitely simplified my to-do list this week. It probably did not help me last week that I just put too many things down on my list, and my concentration was a little bit unfocused because of that. So I'm trying to simplify things this week. I really just want to get through the rest of this draft so that I can start the edits proper next week. Now, as for the book itself, some of it is good and some is not so good, which to be honest is the case whenever you read a first draft. The first quarter to third of the book came from an earlier draft. and I've kind of cobbled those first 5 or so chapters into the new draft. Now, I thought I'd done quite a bit of work on them at the time to smooth everything over, but I can see now that there is still a lot more work to be done. Those chapters are pretty rough. I had not found the voice of some of the side characters yet, and I didn't exactly know where the plot is going, so there are some inconsistencies and unnecessary red herrings, and the plot arc and character arcs are just not there yet. Now, after about chapter 5, things settle down a lot. I drafted the rest of the book from that point onwards quite quickly, and it does show. The plot and the prose are both much smoother, which is fantastic. I'm hoping I will find the same in the entire second half of the draft. One thing I have noticed that I'm missing a little bit is conflict and stakes. Now, this is not something I usually struggle with, even in a first draft. This book, however, is a bit of an anomaly because it is replacing a book that I wrote, published, and then took off from sale last year. Now, that book was a sequel, and in an effort to add lots of conflict and stakes, I kind of ended up taking the characters into some very dark places, and that was one of the things I disliked most about that book. It was just taking the series in the wrong direction. So I kind of feel like in this replacement book, I've probably gone a bit too easy on the characters. I've tried to be a lot nicer to them. Now, in some ways that's a good thing because this book is a lot more upbeat and wholesome, and I think that does work better. And also it is much, much funnier than the book I am replacing, which really works for these characters. But I have made their lives a little bit too easy in certain places. There is definitely conflict in every single scene, but it is a bit muted, and I think for a kind of action adventure high fantasy, the stakes do need lifting a little bit. So that's definitely something I'm going to be working on when I come to start the edits. But for now, that is where I'm going to leave this vlog as we enter the new work week. My next video is probably actually going to be a walk we went on through some bluebell woods. I showed a very tiny clip of it earlier, but I just took so much footage that it's probably going to be a video on its own. And after that, we will be straight into editing the Goldstone Tower. I have a release date in mind for this book towards the end of July, which is very, very tight. I have no idea if I'm going to manage to make that, but I will be filming the journey as I go, so please stick around and join me for that. So until the next video, keep writing everyone, and I'll see you next time.